Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Fantasy Football by Committee. Week 5, Thursday night, start-sit show. I'm Henry John. I'm a trucker. I'm in Planet Fitness. I'm really tired right now. And I also don't have much of a voice, so please bear with me tonight. But I'm joined by the Zachs. Zach Espinoza, Zach McAdoo. Gentlemen, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
Also doing well for another week.
We ready for some week 5 or what?
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, Henry, you go, Henry John Lennon.
Well, week 5 kicks off with a bang. I mean, it's Bears, Redskins, football team, Commanders, whatever they are. You know, and I'm kind of bummed because I have a little time tonight. I was looking forward to watching some playoff baseball, but everybody got swept. So now I got to sit and watch Bears, Commanders. So, you know, that'll be interesting. But we got fantasy football to look forward to. So that is always a plus. And I'm sure that there will be some start-sit questions coming out of that game. There's a few players that could be on the fence about starting or sitting them this week. So if you have questions about that game or any game on the Week 5 slate, drop them in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, in the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. Wherever you're at, throw those questions in there, and we will pick them up. That's what we're here for tonight, primarily, is to serve you guys, answer your questions, give you the analysis, give you our thoughts on whatever situations you might be facing in your lineup decisions for Week 5. And again, plug the Facebook group Fantasy Football by Committee. If you have questions after this stream or, you know, anytime, you can drop them in there and you'll get quick responses from us. You'll get responses from other members. And be sure to go check out all the good content over at flurrysports.org too. Start-sit articles went up today. There's streamers over there. Zach did a buy low, sell high series. We might get into a little bit of that tonight as well if we have time. So, yeah, all kinds of good stuff over on the website as well, flurrysports.org, and we wouldn't be here without them. Guys, we do have one question to kick us off here, so I'll say we jump right into it. We have a Twitch follower. It is, I don't exactly know, as St. Louis fan, maybe, Mr. Discount. Good evening to you as well, my friend. He's wondering, would we trade Jamar Chase for Saquon Barkley? In a vacuum, I would say I probably want to know what else your team is looking like there. But I will say, before I throw it to you guys, the Bengals are a mess. And Joe Burrow specifically is a mess. And I feel like it might be only a matter of time before they shut him down and just kind of call this a lost season because that division is stacked. And I don't really know that they're going to dig themselves out of this hole because he's not right. So what are you guys thinking here? Chase for Barkley.
Even in without a vacuum, I don't think. Well, I'll put it this way: if you think that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are a mess, then I could equally say the same for Daniel Jones and the New York Giants offense. I get that there's a running back emergency in the NFL ecosystem right now for fantasy football purposes, but I still take Jamar Chase with whoever the backup is, whether that be A.J. McCarron, who knows who, over Saquon Barkley. I just do not believe in that Giants offense.
Yeah, Bengals might be a mess, but the Giants are an absolute dumpster fire on offense right now. So the fact of the matter is, you don't want to trade a guy who's in a mess right now that we don't know what's going on with Burrow and the calf injury. And he's trying to push through, but at the same time, it's making his team look worse. But I'd still keep Jamar Chase over Saquon Barkley because Barkley's still going to be a question mark with that offense.
I definitely agree. Until Andrew Thomas gets back, that Giants offensive line is, it's got major issues. Like, they don't even have one good player up there. I feel like that Evan Neal they drafted a couple years ago, promising out of Alabama. Yeah, he's not very impressive. So that's what you're buying into with Barkley for sure. Again, though, I guess from my take, I would be looking to see, what is the rest of your lineup. Both players are really good. Both players right now are on teams that are struggling. So you have tons of good receivers behind Jamar Chase, for example, and you need running back help. Maybe you consider it. I think Barkley, though, is more likely of the two to get injured, though, if we're looking at those two straight up. So Chase is just going to suffer because of Joe Burrow's calf and all that.
Speaking of injuries, hold on real quick, because I know Zach Espinoza has been all over this, and the Baker Mayfield Deshaun Watson debacle here. I'm throwing this out there. Deshaun Watson this week, because of a little elbow injury that everyone said, oh yeah, he's going to be playing Sunday. He was ruled out because he didn't want to play. That's being reported out of Cleveland. I mean, Zach, I'll let you take over because I have what I think, but we'll let you because you've been the one that started this off, and it's become a trilogy now.
Yeah, the triumphant. This is the Revenge of the Sith for me, and God, I hope they don't pull me out for a prequel, disastrous prequel trilogy. Dear God. So Deshaun Watson is medically cleared, and he says, "No, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it." Bro, you are getting paid millions of dollars. You're medically cleared. I completely understand if they're pumping you with painkillers to force you out there. But if you're telling me the reports are true that, no, he's fine. He doesn't need the painkillers. He's good to go. And you're just saying, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going up against that scary Baltimore defense. Yeah, I get to play them twice a year. I don't feel like doing it this one time. I would do it for free. Coach, put me in. Deshaun, I can't.
Yeah, you go back to 2020 and Baker Mayfield, not 2021, excuse me. And Baker Mayfield ruined his career because he's out there going out week after week, playing with a shoulder injury, and yet you have Deshaun Watson, who won't even touch the field because of a little elbow injury. I mean, this goes back to show you like how much they care about their teams.
And my theory is, I think Baker really.
Pull it up. We all see it.
That's the comment of the night right there.
R.I.P.
I'm just gonna let that one
man. But my theory is that Baker put himself in harm's way because they couldn't commit to giving him a contract for that 5th-year extension or a long-term contract after that. And I think he was trying to prove himself to the organization. For whatever reason, had their doubts about him, and they let him out. They left him out there to dry. And he got a fucking beating week in and week out. And yet how they said their thanks was shipping him off to Carolina for another disastrous situation that I think was beyond his control as well.
Yeah, now look what's happening now that he got some weapons down in Tampa, and he's got a really good defense on the other side of the ball. Are the Bucs good? Question mark. Nobody in that division's really good. So shoot, beating the Saints, you never know. Because I think coming into the year, a lot of people would have said the Saints were the team to beat. So
they got Derek Carr at quarterback. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I know that, but a lot of people don't. I don't think quite realize that.
Disrespect Carr.
I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying he's amazing.
We got to get back on track here. Do you guys have anything off the jump that you want to talk about? I think one thing that I do want to touch on, and we can jump into the start-sit columns here in a little bit and run through those plays. Again, if you have any questions about your lineups going into this week, drop them in the chat, and we will hop on those right away. One thing I want to talk about, what are you guys hearing, seeing, thinking is going to happen with the Colts backfield situation this week? Jonathan Taylor, they activated him like on that 21-day return. According to JT himself, he's fully healthy. He's ready to go. Coaches, I think, said he looked good as well. So are we expecting Jim Irsay to be petty and like hold him out another week or two or make him like practice a full 21 days? Or is he going to slot right back in this week? It's a tough matchup against the Titans specifically this week. So his first game out there this year, if he does play, I guess I'm wondering, what do you think his role is going to be? Is he splitting with Zach Moss? Is he the guy right away? Are the Colts trying to showcase him for potential trade value down the road? And B, where would you rank him this week? Is he an RB2, RB3 against a very tough Titans defense in front? That defense is truly pass funnel. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the whole Jonathan Taylor situation? We can start with you, Espinoza.
I think he's going to be an RB4. I don't think that they give him the workload right away. Zach Moss had a broken arm in the preseason. They didn't even let him be the workhorse week 1. I do think that they try to wean him back into it. I don't know if he plays more than 50%. I'd say it's capped at 40% of the snaps. I do think that Taylor is going to play. I don't think Irsay is going to try to be petty. If they hold him back, it's just going to lower his trade value. So I think it's in the best interest for both Taylor as well as the Colts to get him out there. That way eyes can be seen. We can see if he's quote unquote rusty and how he's really doing, if he's really as healthy as he says he is. Macadoodle do?
So he's playing this week. There's no doubt about it. There's no more trade talk to Miami because you see how well Devon A-Chain and Raheem Mostert have done so far this year. That trade has been burned. I think Taylor is going to be a top 10 back this week. I think he's been healthy this whole time. I think they just put him on the PPP.
Top 10?
A top 10
top
back
10 against Tennessee in his first game back.
That Colts offense is explosive, man.
I'd say Anthony
all right.
is explosive.
I was not expecting this polar opposite. I got one guy saying, he's an RB4, like flex at best. And I got another guy saying he's a top 10 running back in his first game back. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry. You just surprised me.
I believe that this Colts offense is going to do something. And with Anthony Richardson in the back, like, I'm not saying he's going to go out and like get 80-yard rushes like Breece Hall. I think a lot of his points are going to come probably from PPR with reception. So,
okay.
I think we're becoming.
Do we have a rebuttal?
You know, we're just two opposite ends of the spectrum, and the next thing you know, we're just going to be yelling at each other, saying the other one's wrong.
We did it last week, if you don't remember.
That's what I'm saying. We're becoming the very thing we sought to destroy.
Do you want to tell Henry your bad take from last week?
Okay, to be fair, it was a question that had a stacked team, and they were like, should I start Aaron Jones over Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs?
Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans. And my response was, if you're going to start Aaron Jones over one person, I would say Devontae Adams. I said he would get anywhere from 10 to 12 points. He got 15 in PPR. So was I terribly off? No, but Bruner and McAdoo thought I had just said the most egregious racial slurs on live on air. Like, that's the feedback I got from it.
I mean, I have the advantage of the hindsight being 2020. The Raiders forgot Devontae Adams existed for an entire half.
I wrote an article.
God, that take still stinks, man.
I wrote an article about how I think he's going to be traded soon. I'm not gonna not defend my article. But they thought I was crazy.
Fair enough. I do want to just throw this up here, Zach chiming in. Jonathan Taylor has never rushed for more than 70 yards against the Tennessee Titans in his career. So that's a little interesting tidbit if he is out there this weekend to note. I think the Colts offense has exceeded expectations for a lot of people. I do think that he comes back and he should play well going forward. I'm hesitant this week. It looked like the Fantasy Pros ECR, I checked that while you guys were talking. They have him RB25, so fringe RB2 territory. Definitely a tough matchup, though, for sure. The question is, though, is Richardson going to push the ball down the field? I think that's going to be something worth telling. So far, quarterbacks have just been bombs away against the Colts, even Deshaun Watson. So it'd be interesting to see how that all shakes out. We do have a question. We can return to more JT talk. I did have a follow-up question for you guys if we have time. Let's see here. Make COD great again. Would we trade away Bijan and George Pickens for CeeDee Lamb and Devon Achane? The 18 PPR. He is 3-1. His running backs are Bijan, Saquon, Kyron Williams, Brees Hall, Damian Pierce, and Rashad White. That's pretty loaded for an 8-team, I must say. And wide receivers are DK Metcalf, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, and Zay Flowers. So of the two groups here, I would definitely say I'd be looking to upgrade wide receivers. I like the thought process. We're going after CeeDee Lamb. So I guess it comes down to, are we willing to give up or do the Bijan Robinson for Devon Achane swap? I love me some George Pickens, but I hate me that Steelers offense. Matt Canada's a bozo. Where are you guys coming down here? Because I think from what he has already, I could make a strong case for this trade, even though I don't really know how that Dolphins backfield is going to play out when Jeff Wilson returns.
Yeah, and that's why I'm steering clear of no. I don't hate it. If you make this, I'm not going to say that it was an egregious call on your part. But I did write an article about the fantasy running back emergency that's happening in the ecosystem. Go check that. If you do trade, be prepared to trade away a king's ransom. In this case, you're the one trading away the king's ransom. You're giving up your good running back for a wide receiver. You look pretty stacked. You got Metcalf, Waddle, Pittman, and Flowers. I think you can survive. You're 3-1 for a reason.
I mean, I would take this trade. I think, yeah, you're going to give away pretty much the Atlanta Falcons offense and Bijan Robinson, but at the same time, you're getting CeeDee Lamb and Devon Achane, and I think Achane's is going to be the starter in Miami, and CeeDee and the Cowboys offense has just been phenomenal so far this year. And come on, George Pickens, what is he? He's been trash outside of one pass this year. And it's not him, it's the whole Steelers offense. I should point that out.
Fair.
So here's my other question. I'll pose it to McAdoo since you said you would accept the trade. Are you at all concerned about having Achane and Jalen Waddle at that point as two of your primary contributors? You're going to be starting two Dolphins on a weekly basis pretty much. Are you at all concerned about that?
In the Dynasty League I have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. What does that tell you?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't
but
argue with
Baker
this.
Mayfield throws to them.
True, he is a god.
Sorry, go ahead. I just had to, throw that in there.
Oh, we got another question in.
Did you have a follow-up, or are you good?
Who, me? Oh, no, I'm just reading this other question.
Yeah.
I thought you did.
I'll wait for it to come.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought there was one. We will jump to this one then from Youngstar210. How you boys doing? I've been better, but overall, none of us can complain, I don't think. You just completed a trade, though, so let's jump into this. He sent Tyler Boyd and Dallas Goedert for Evan Engram. Win or loss?
I think it's a
okay.
win. Evan Engram has been playing
Interesting
consistent
one.
tight end, which is for years been so hard to find. I think we found the diamond in the rough this year. You got rid of Tyler Boyd, who is in a dysfunctional Cincinnati offense, which may or may not return. And even then, he's third in the pecking order. And Dallas Goedert, that is just in a stacked Philly offense that's so hard for him to get points for as talented as he is. It's an absolute W. I would be surprised if McAdoodle-Doo disagrees with me.
No, I think Evan Ingram's one of the better tight ends this year. And Tyler Boyd has, again, that we've said the Cincinnati Bengals offense has been a mess this year, and I don't know Dallas Goedert's points so far this year, but if I had to guess, it's probably not a good thing. But I mean, you got I think it was tight end 4 going into this week for almost pennies on a dollar.
Absolutely.
I just pulled up both players' stats here. Dallas Goedert had 7 targets in weeks 2 and 3. Had 6 receptions and 5 receptions. Failed to crack double-digit fantasy points both times. There's no depth to those targets. I like the Eagles. I think the Eagles are really good. but something's off compared to last year. Like you said, Espinosa, there's so many weapons in that offense. Meanwhile, Evan Engram, he's had 8 targets each of the last 3 weeks, and he had 5 in week 1. So there is definitely a floor, I think, there. That's pretty clear. Tyler Boyd's pretty irrelevant to me, honestly, in this trade. I don't. Maybe that relevance goes up a little bit depending on what's up with T. Higgins, but does it really matter what's up with T. Higgins when Joe Burrow is clearly not right either? So don't hate it. I think overall I'm kind of indifferent. I feel like Goddard's going to regress positively, but time will tell. Let's keep going here. We got some more coming in the chat. Youngstar just added he had Boyd on his bench, so that's no big loss whatsoever for you. You're upgrading your starting tight end position based on what we've seen at the beginning of the year. There you go. I like it. Can you sub? Absolutely. YouTube, Twitch. Join the Fantasy Football by Committee group on Facebook. Heck yeah. Follow Flurry Sports on Twitter. Follow Fantasy Football by Committee on Twitter. We're everywhere. Let's see here. We've got Bag and Play. He wants to know, should he start Darren Waller or Kyle Pitts?
I think you bite the bullet.
I don't think you can start Kyle Pitts ever.
I don't think you can start
It's so frustrating.
either. I think you look for the waiver wire, pal. I think
Jonnu Smith, that's who you go for. And this is what pisses me off. Here's my rant. Jonnu Smith has more targets, more yards, more catches. This is such bullshit. I mean, why does Kyle Pitts – he should be your tight end 1. Atlanta is just absolutely screwing over Kyle Pitts. If you're not going to use him, send him off. Let someone else use him.
That's a hardcore rant from a Florida Gators fan right there. I agree, though, 100%. Dude's way too talented to just not be used whatsoever. I mean, Desmond Ridder sucks. Let's call it like it is. They want to run the ball. Jonnu Smith's going to be the run-blocking tight end, and then it just so happens he's in there when they have to throw, it seems like, too. Kind of a Jonnu Smith apologist, though. I'm not going to lie. Shout out FIU Golden Panthers. All right. Braves fan 527, also on Twitch. How you doing? We have got a CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence quarterback start-sit dilemma for Week 5. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are still over in London. That's so stupid. Yeah. Back-to-back weeks across the pond. It's so stupid. Yeah. They're playing the Bills, and then CJ Stroud and the Texans. Who the heck do the Texans play this week?
Doesn't matter.
One of you guys is going to get it.
Doesn't matter.
I know CJ Stroud this week. There we go. It's the Falcons. It's Kyle Pitts and the Atlanta Falcons. Not that Kyle Pitts is going to be defending CJ Stroud, but what do you guys think?
I'd pay to see that. You know what? They'd be using him better if they did. He might even
They would actually be using him.
Maybe
quarterback spy.
Yeah.
It's his new calling.
Yeah. Might get some points for you that way. Anyway, CJ Stroud has been the most consistent rookie quarterback this year for a reason. He is not turning the ball over. He is making those easy completions. He is getting those easy yards. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had a spectacular year by any stretch of the imagination. He's also playing Buffalo, which is a turnover-heavy defense. Maybe not this year. That's what they've been known in years past. The safer bet is CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, you see the flag behind me, so I mean, I gotta say Stroud, but it's tough because I have the feeling that Houston could be put him away early, and they're not gonna pass the ball late. So, unlike what could happen with the Jags, so.
As in like Trevor Lawrence is gonna play catch up.
He's probably gonna need to throw the ball the whole game compared to Stroud, who's probably gonna stop so they can run a clock.
Interesting. Good take.
Jags offense feels like it's overdue to me. I don't know if Tre'Davious White being out opens things up for either Kirk or Ridley or somebody. Kind of a big blow to the Bills secondary, but the Bills defense has been very impressive thus far. I would go CJ Stroud of these two. I know the third Zach, the most important Zach, no offense, guys, Bruner, he's talked a lot about how CJ Stroud, they're just running the Shanahan offense where he just makes the read, finds the open guy, and he's doing it very well. And I think that has accelerated his, run to success as a rookie quarterback compared to other rookies even in this class and in years past, like other guys who are still struggling. So I like the weapons they have there in Houston a whole lot. I don't love Atlanta's defense. So I would be rolling with Stroud here. And definitely concerns about Lawrence and the Jags offense as a whole right now. Speaking of Bruner, he did add Kyle Pitts leads tight ends in air yards. It's not like the Falcons don't use him.
10 and 29. Tight end 29.
I saw him drop.
Just not leading them much. How much of that is Ritter's fault? I don't know. Fletcher Cox. Wow, we got an NFL stud defensive lineman asking us a question, guys. Here we go. On YouTube, should I trade Derrick Henry and Tua for Ramondre Stevenson and Anthony Richardson? This is a fun one. This is a really fun one.
I think you could. I think there's an argument for both sides. Tua, I think, is bound to get injured at some point, as much as we don't want it, as much as I think it would be a human rights violation to put him out there again. I do think Derrick Henry is the king for a reason. Anthony Richardson, though, I think he played his first full game last week. Week 1 through 4, week 4 just entirely, and weeks 1 through 3, he didn't even complete the game. So he is explosive. He has yet to sustain it. You want to jump the gun on that? I think Tua is more explosive on the good side. I think Anthony Richardson has equally as much potential to be volatile for never finishing a game, except last week. So you do what you want with that information. I think Derrick Henry and Tua are safe and sound.
The bias is going to show here, but I can't take, for love of me, I cannot take Ramondre Stevenson and Anthony Richardson over Derrick Henry and Tua. You're getting the worst end of the deal in both positions. Richardson can run the ball, but Tua has probably the two best weapons in the NFL right now. And Derrick Henry, he's a monster. I don't care what anyone says. He's still a top 3 back in the NFL right now.
But for fantasy, though.
Yeah, fair, but still, he's compared to Derrick Henry to Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah. I think both offenses are kind of a little wonky right now. It's week 5. This is, our first bye weeks. This is where we'll start to see our final trends throughout the rest of the year. I think I'm still going to take Derrick Henry over New England offense led by Mac Jones, and Bill O'Brien is the offensive coordinator. That's even more dysfunctional than arguably Cincinnati.
Don't even start with the scheme in New England. That's not the problem. I'm going to tie both of your arguments together here, okay? Derrick Henry, better than Ramondre Stevenson. Rest of the season, don't care. Ramondre Stevenson is in a weekly timeshare. Yeah, he's the majority, but Ezekiel Elliott is playing at least 35% of snaps every single week. Second of all, Ramondre Stevenson actually made the running back start sit column that I wrote up earlier today as a sit for this specific week. Patriots offensive line is garbage. They played 4 games. They've trotted out 4 different offensive line combinations. They're banged up. They can't find what works as far as lining guys up. And they are putrid in terms of yards per carry. I think they rank 25th in rushing yards per game, and that's across all players. Ramondre Stevenson has an average more than 3.6 yards per carry in a single game. He hasn't rushed for 60 yards yet this season, and that's having at least 12 carries in every single game. It's not pretty. So I like Derrick Henry over him. And here's where I fall on the 2 quarterbacks. Tua's got great weapons. Anthony Richardson's a dual threat. Anthony Richardson's already been banged up. It's only a matter of time before Tua Tagovailoa is on the sidelines hurt with another concussion, inevitably. So if both quarterbacks are going to get hurt, I'm good.
Thanks, Bruner.
I'll take Derrick Henry, and I'll take Tua. I'm gonna stay with those 2. I like Richardson more than Tua. I think in terms of upside and just as a player in general, he's going to be a stud in this league. But that's the way I'm going. Let's see here. And yes, I know Derrick Henry split carries with Ty J. Spears. He's still just too good, I think. I don't love the Titans' offensive line, but the Patriots is disgusting right now. We got Braves fan 527. Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith this week. So a tight end question here. Hunter Henry and the Patriots play the Saints. Jonnu Smith and the Falcons play the Texans. This is pretty easy for me. I would go Hunter Henry. I just don't, I can't trust Jonnu Smith to replicate last week. So what do you guys think?
I go Jonnu Smith. I mean, there was that epic rant for a reason, right? It's based in facts. The stats don't lie. McAdoo, you want to take it over?
This is you're gonna. I want to say a lose-lose situation here because both teams don't have good quarterback play right now. So, I mean, do you go with Mac Jones or do you go with Desmond Ridder? I'm probably gonna go Hunter Henry here because I trust him more to get that workload in. As dumb as that sounds.
I'm going with Hunter Henry. I think Mac Jones needs a safety valve this week, especially if the Saints are bringing pressure. Because, oh, by the way, the Patriots line sucks in pass pro, too. I think Hunter Henry will be involved. That Saints front is good. Should be able to get pressure. Jones is going to have to check it down a little bit. Interesting tidbit here, going back to that other trade discussion we had from, who was it? Fletcher Cox. How could I forget? Derrick Henry's played 54% of the Titans snaps. I feel like Zach's coming at my argument here. So here's my theory on that. I feel like the Titans are trying to save him. I feel like the Titans aren't sure if they're going anywhere this year, and so they don't want to run him into the ground whatsoever. It's a bad offensive line. I don't know what you guys think, but if they keep winning games like they won last week, right? That defense is still really good, at least the front seven anyway. That division's wide open. Like Houston is in the conversation with that division right now. Everybody's 2-2. Nobody saw that coming.
I gotta say,
do you think the snap percentage goes up?
Then why are you promoting him as a great fantasy player, Henry John Lennon?
He still gets points.
I'm not saying he's great. I just don't think Ramondre Stevenson's great either.
I think he has a bigger timeshare than Derrick Henry, which is why I said I can understand the argument for wanting to trade for Ramondre Stevenson. Mm-hmm. I think both players are equally as explosive. I think Anthony Richardson is more volatile in the sense that he's only completed one game in his NFL career so far, and I do think it's just a matter of time until Tua, hopefully not, but maybe inevitably gets injured again. But I do think his ceiling is a lot higher, or his floor is a lot higher at the moment.
No, I agree. Let's see here. Youngstar 210. Got another question here. What do we got? Quick question. Do I trade Saquon for James Conner and DeAndre Swift? He had Chubb, but he got hurt as well. So he had two really great backs, and last week he didn't have either of them able to play for him. His current running backs are Algier, Gus Edwards, and Saquon. Okay.
So
love me some Gus Edwards.
Wait, did you have Bijan Robinson as well? That you were debating trading away? So you're trying to pair Bijan Robinson, James Conner, and DeAndre Swift?
I'm pretty sure he's trading. Do I trade Saquon for James Conner and DeAndre Swift? So this is a little interesting because it's all running backs. And I think if I'm reading that right.
Okay.
If I'm reading that right, I think James Conner is going to get hurt, and I don't trust DeAndre Swift. But I mean, Saquon's already dealing with stuff, and the Giants suck. So if I can get a little 2-for-1 there, based on already having lost Chubb, and just kind of wanting to have another option as my second running back on a weekly basis, I might go for that based on how the room's looking right now. What say you guys, though?
I understand the appeal for James Conner. He is the starting running back in Arizona, but I don't know what his percentage of snaps looked like last week, but he's had increasingly less snaps weeks 1 through 3. I haven't checked the facts for week 4, but the fact that it was a downward trend 1 through 3 isn't a good sign for me. I do think that DeAndre Swift definitely has the explosiveness to it that I think it's viable just to trade Saquon Barkley for DeAndre Swift. I do think it's ultimately a win because at the same time, you're just going to get good depth in James Conner. You're just going to play with fire, though. Just depends on when he gets injured. You know what? No, I changed my mind. I say no. Should I counter the trade by doing Pollard and Swift for Saquon? Yeah, absolutely. Tony Pollard plays in the Dallas Cowboys. You can never be annoying in a chat-based stream, young star 210. There's no such thing as a stupid question on here. We're so glad for your interaction. Do I wait on
James Conner dropped a little further last week. I'm just following up your point. We went from 84% week 1, 72, 64, 62, 14 rushing attempts, 23, 14, 11. A few targets in there each week. He had 5 in week 1. That's kind of an outlier, though, based on the other weeks.
I'll put it this way. When the stats are in my favor, the stats don't lie. When they aren't in my favor, then they're taken out of context. I think you trade away Saquon Barkley at all costs.
Adams.
Yeah. Okay. I think you stay away from Saquon Barkley. You get him away. You get Swift. You get Pollard. It's a win-win for you because you screwed over another team and you won the trade.
The only thing I'll add is because right now you only have one running back and one true running back and a running back who is dependent on a touchdown. And right now Algier's not it. He hasn't been it since week 1. And Gus Edwards, I don't even know what the hell's going on with the Ravens backfield right now.
Algier's a Bijan injury away from being a stud. Gus Edwards, don't love him this week, I don't think, against the Steelers. Going forward, I still think he's the top dog there. But, I mean, shoot, if you got somebody who's really in love with Saquon and you can counter and get Pollard and Swift, I would do that in a heartbeat. Let's see here. Oh, there he is. Spencer's in the chat. Tyjae Spears for Calvin Austin III. Right back to that Titans backfield. Thanks a lot. I guess I'm just going to sit this one out because apparently I know nothing. So, what do you guys think?
Take the trade. Just take it. Take every trade ever.
Yeah, Spencer. Anything that benefits Henry, I'm going to say do that.
Oh, this is not with me. I don't have Calvin Austin III.
Oh, well, do it just despite Henry. I do think we have another question in the chat.
Yeah, you missed one.
Brady Bell.
Did I miss one?
I think so. We got Brady Bell.
Oh, Spencer wants to know, is this the Zach that offered me that silly trade? I don't know. There's like 4 Zachs in the league. But Brady Bell real quick. Then we'll figure out which Zach offered this trade.
It's me.
Christian Kirk or Hollywood Brown? I mean, Hollywood Brown sucks. Like, he sucks.
Yes, he plays in Arizona with Josh Dobbs as the quarterback that is committed to tanking. Christian Kirk at least has a competent offense with Trevor Lawrence. Granted, there are a little more mouths to feed, but that also means that it's a little more explosive. Christian Kirk.
I hate the fact that Marquise Brown is getting all these targets now, though. 10 targets 2 of the last 3 weeks. He had 7 the week before that. The Cardinals are, like, somehow good. He's had 3 nice PPR points weeks in a row. He scored touchdowns in 2 of them, so a little bit inflated on weeks 2 and 3. Last week, though, 7 receptions on 10 targets, 96 yards. So he's apparently doesn't suck. I mean, I'm eating crow on that. I still don't think he's a great player. Let's see here. The Cardinals are at home against the potentially also tanking Bengals. And then we've got Christian Kirk and the Jags against the Bills. Mentioned previously, Tre'Davious White out for the year.
Jacksonville plays.
Yeah, how's that going to impact how the Bills are able to defend all of Jacksonville's weapons? That Jags offense still doesn't look great, though. What do you say, McAdoo?
I'm going Hollywood Brown. You guys say he sucks. He still got the speed. I think him and Josh Dobbs are.
Sometimes there is nothing left to say. You're absolutely right. Beautiful. I mean, poetry. Poetry.
It's great when Josh Dobbs is the last word. What are you thinking, though? You were leaning Kirk, though, on this one?
Well, especially with Tre'Davious White out. I mean, Evan Ingram is going to get looks. He's clearly a dominant pass catcher in that offense. I do think that they also got Calvin Ridley for a reason. Internet is poopy as his team. Wow. Them fighting words.
If you're talking about me, I'm 3-1 in the 16-team league you're talking about, so get at me.
Ooh. Oh.
Which Zach has Calvin Austin the third? I don't know which of you has it.
Not me.
Wasn't me. It was Bruner. Anything that's, I say.
No, I don't know if it was Bruner, because Spencer loves the genocide name.
Yeah, he wants to talk shit, but I mean, I'm 3-1. I have this. I should be the third best team, but because the way he has his standings, I'm fifth because I'm not the division leader. Fuck you, Bruner.
It's my league.
I know.
I made the rules.
Yeah, but Bruner's in my division. That was my point. Bruner and I are both 3-1.
For a slice of bread. What kind of bread? Wonder? I prefer Arnold.
Economy, though? I take the slice of bread.
Are you?
I like the Arnold healthy nut.
You do like nuts.
Yeah. Trail makes his prime driving down the road food. Let me tell you, because I'll just be shoveling that in while I'm at the wheel. It was a different team that offered him that trade.
Good.
I mean, I wouldn't do it.
I'm not saying what my team name is on stream, but you can figure it out.
No, I know which one. Trust me, I know which one.
Yeah, because I told you.
Mm-hmm. Well, the audience doesn't know that, but now they do.
I'm just gonna leave that one there.
I was looking away for 1 second to pull up stats. What did I miss?
You know what, Spencer? I'm hanging on to Tyjae Spears, and here's why. You lost J.K. Dobbins already. If something happens to Derrick Henry, Tyjae Spears is going to be playing even more. And I'm just not high on the Steelers right now, like whatsoever. I don't really care who's doing what there. I don't trust that offense.
No, man.
So yeah, there's my take. Kenny sucks at fantasy football. This is true. That's why we brought him back into the league, because I think it's funny. All right. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat. We'll be hopping off here. I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so.
3 minutes.
So we can go watch Thursday Night Football. Bears, Commanders.
Ugh.
But any last minute start sit questions, fire away.
I don't know. Do you need a slice of bread to wipe your shitty fantasy team, bitch?
Ooh. Roasting.
Oh, man. Let's see here. I'm going to jump into – we're just going to read off the names and the columns. If you want the full breakdowns on the start 'em, sit 'em columns over at flurrysports.org, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs are all up. In the wide receivers, Zach had listed a couple of starts as Zay Flowers for the Ravens against the Steelers. Terry McLaurin for the Commanders against the Bears tonight. He's got a couple sits as Drake London with the Falcons against the Texans. I love the analysis on Drake London, too, by the way. And then we're sitting Cortland Sutton, the Broncos against the Jets. Just off of those four guys, is there a call that you really like coming out of one of those that you strongly agree with, either a start or a sit? Espinoza?
Yeah, I think I like starting Curtis Samuel. I don't think it's bad to say Terry McLaurin is a start over Curtis Samuel, but I do think that he definitely earns an honorable mention here, especially if you're going to start Logan Thomas versus the Bears at well. I think you're overwhelming them. I think Curtis Samuel has been getting a lot of sneaky looks. He's been getting some yards. He's been getting some touchdowns. He's been getting some rush attempts. And why I think that's important is because they're trying to give him the ball in whatever way that they can, because they realize that he's a special playmaker. So I don't think he's going to be wide receiver 1 by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think he's worth a pickup in most of your leagues, and he is available in most leagues.
McAdoo, any of those names that you really like or strongly agree with or perhaps disagree with? I'll even open up that to you.
I lost connection when you started the question, so I need to repeat it.
Okay. It's the wide receivers that Bruner had listed in the start sit column. He likes Dave Flowers against the Steelers, McLaurin against the Bears tonight. He does not like Drake London against the Texans and Cortland Sutton against the Jets. If you had to strongly agree with one or perhaps try to go against one of those plays,
I would say
anyone
McLaurin
stand out?
I'd say McLaurin because the looked on Sunday against the Eagles Eagles defense. What the hell am I saying? Eagles defense, and they're playing against the Bears, who are absolutely atrocious on both sides of the ball. So,
100%. The Bears pretty bad. Let's see here. We'll jump to tight ends. We've got Zach listed out in the column. Zach Ertz is a start for the Cardinals. Love it against the Bengals. He's a weekly start at this point, I feel like. Logan Thomas also tonight for the Commanders against the Bears. Love that as well. I'm streaming him in a couple leagues. It may be more than streams going forward because, tight end is just all that. And then we're sitting Kyle Pitts against the Texans, and we're sitting Dalton Kincaid against the Jaguars. Espinoza, do you have one that you agree or disagree with?
Yeah, I highly agree with the Dalton Kincaid sitting. I know everybody got their panties in a wad. He was the high draft pick for Buffalo. I never really understood why they felt the need to draft him so high when they had Dawson Knox, and they never knew how to use him in the first place. I understand that they're running a lot more 2 tight end sets this year on offense, but they weren't even using Dawson Knox in years past. What makes you think that they're all of a sudden going to introduce Dalton Kincaid in that offensive ecosystem? So I think he's been riding the hype way too long. I think he's going to be a little bit of a permanent sit, barring some Dawson Knox injury.
I don't like that. I don't like either of the sits. I agree with them, but I love me Kyle Pitts. I love me the DK Bros, but I will agree with Zach Ertz. I do think he's a good play this week, especially since I had to start him this week for one of my leagues because David Njoku's on a bye. So it was a good pickup for me, I think. But
so to be clear, you agree with the analysis on the sits?
Yes, I agree because
you're trying to separate your heart.
Kyle Pitts needs to do something in the NFL. And it's not his fault. I think it's the Falcons offensive coordinator.
I think Bruner thinks it is his fault.
I don't care what Bruner thinks.
Based on that comment.
I don't care what Bruner thinks. And
we all know.
I love Dalton. I also like Dawson Kincaid, A, because he plays for the Bills, and B, because I thought he'd do a lot better than what he has. And we were so much snake oil this preseason. At least I was. With Kincaid, Pickett, and a couple other guys, but I think if they can figure out the tight end situation in Buffalo, and I thought Kincaid was going to be used as a slot guy when they drafted him. I thought they had him figured out, maybe get them both the ball, but
Bruner's just relentlessly after Kyle Pitts. If only Arthur Smith could catch the ball and hand it to him. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, tears of soy.
Yeah,
his bench would also beat my brother's starters. I just saw that.
The Jordan Love fan out there, he he can.
Yeah,
All right.
you know what? You're right. You're right, McAdoo. What's he giving us shit for, right? He's a Packers fan. That's got to be rough.
Last but not least, and again, any last minute questions or questions looking ahead to week 5, drop them in the chat. We'll answer anything if there is anything else before we hop off. My running backs article, I feel like I should only ask for which one you disagree with, both of you, because I feel like that's the theme of this whole stream, is being feisty. So for starts, I had Jahmyr Gibbs, little zig when everyone else zags. I like the matchup against Carolina this week. And then I had Jaleel McLaughlin, and again, that's kind of predicated on Javonte Williams being out. I think he's trending towards being out. And at that point, I think McLaughlin leads that backfield against a Jets defense that I feel like is a little overrated, and their stats against running backs not great. For sits, I had Stevenson, already well documented on this show, and I had Miles Sanders for the Panthers against the Lions. So I had a start from that game and a sit from that game. I think Detroit's in a better defense than people are giving them credit for up front. So I guess you can agree with one if you want to, but I'm here for the disagreements more. What do you think, Espinoza?
I think this was low-hanging fruit for the disagreement. I got to go with Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit.
Okay.
You even write it in your analysis. David Montgomery, in his return, got 32 carries to Gibbs's 8.
Yep.
And so, I mean,
it's more even split this week. That's just me. I think it's more even split. They're not going to run Montgomery 32 carries every single week. I love David Montgomery, and I'm thrilled that the backfield's playing out like it is. I just think when I look at the rest of the running back board this week, I think Jahmyr Gibbs couldn't qualify as an RB2. Like I could see a top 24 finish. So that's like the criteria when I'm trying to take guys who are outside of the top 24 in the ECR and argue why they could be an RB2 this week. That's like my thought process.
He's too touchdown dependent, especially with the volume that David Montgomery is. I mean, you're absolutely right. They drafted him in the first round for a reason. You pay the premium at a running back position to utilize them. I do think it's a matter of time. I just think that they haven't been rolling in that direction at the moment. And so until I see those results is when I'll say to start him.
That's fair.
McAdoo.
I mean, I don't like either of you starts this week. I don't like
Oh,
the Broncos.
yes. That means they're
the
good.
Broncos offense. Yeah, probably. I don't like the Broncos offense going against the Jets defense. I mean, look what they did last week against a Mahomes team. I mean, granted, the Jets didn't look so good against the Cowboys, but what has the Broncos offense done this year?
Correct me if I'm wrong. The game was wasn't that game 17-0 after like the first quarter?
Who?
Here's the stats. So in terms of rushing yards allowed, Jets have given up 444. That is the 7th most. In terms of receiving yards allowed to opposing backs, they've given up 166. That is the 8th most of any defense. PPR fantasy points allowed per NFL.com, scoring 23.25 per game to opposing running backs. That is the 11th most of any defense. I feel like this defense is overrated. That's just me.
Whose defense though? The Jets?
Yeah, the Jets, yes. And I don't love the Broncos by any means, but if Williams is out, I think we saw a clear indication last week that McLaughlin is going to get steady run. And Sean Payton's talked about before this that he wants to use him more. So
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with the logic there.
That's my argument. I'm sticking with it. I'm probably wrong, but McAdoo disagrees with both, so that has me feeling better. All right. Favorite fast food burger, Randy 3336 to end the show. Where are you guys going?
Oh, I got to go Texan, and I got to go Whataburger.
Never had one.
Really?
I'm trying to get there. I still haven't had one either.
Yeah, that's why I fist bump burger. But I gotta go Steak and Shake. If you haven't had a Steak and Shake burger, oh my god, so delicious, so great milkshakes. Have the cotton candy milkshake if you go down there. They will blow your balls off. Amazing.
Man, I don't know if I can afford that, but I mean, yeah, I think the shakes are really good.
Since I was out in Vegas, I got to experience In-N-Out, and that's up there. Five Guys is probably my favorite, but Five Guys is so damn expensive. I'm gonna go In-N-Out because it's a bargain. I had Portillo's the other night. I was very happy. I don't get the cheeseburger there, but I get the Italian beef. Best restaurant ever. All right. DJ Moore has already scored a touchdown to start Thursday Night Football. I would assume Justin Fields threw that to him. Incredible stuff. All right. Thursday Night Football is going. That means we are going to say sayonara. Thanks again for tuning in. Check out Fantasy Football by Committee, the Facebook group. Any other questions you have leading up to Week 5, drop them in there. People will answer. Analysts that you see on the shows will answer, and get a discussion going. Drop your thoughts in there. It doesn't have to be a question either. Just shoot the shit about fantasy football. That's what that community is there for. Check out all the great stuff on flurrysports.org. Everybody's working hard over there. What else? Subscribe to YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're at. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And yeah, this has been Week 5 Fantasy Football Start Sit. Thanks for joining us, and we will all talk to you again soon. Best of luck this week.